Hello everyone, welcome to this week's webinar. I hope you are all very well. Please do come and say hello in the chat. Let me know if you can hear me and let me know how you are all doing. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Bonjour et bienvenue à ce webinaire ouvert à tous. Avant de commencer, pour ceux qui ne nous connaissent pas, je m'appelle Cecilia, je suis une professeure d'anglais natif et le Cercle des langues est une école d'anglais en ligne pour les adultes. Nous proposons des formations d'anglais sur mesure en fonction de vos objectifs, de votre niveau et de votre budget. Et la bonne nouvelle, c'est que nos formations sont 100% finançables par CPF. So if you would like to start learning English, or maybe you already speak a bit of English and you want to improve, do come and see us. So hello everyone. Thank you so much for saying hello in the chat. So of course now I will speak English again so that we can get started. So this is the final webinar, the fourth part of our series on the United States. So the United States is very well known for its food. People like to eat food in America. Food is a large part of American culture. Perhaps any of you that have traveled to the United States have a particular dish that you really enjoyed, or maybe a dish that you would like to try if you have not been to the United States before. So please do let me know in the chat if there are any dishes you like or any dishes you have tasted, because maybe food is a big part of most people's lives. And so today we're going to have a look at some different types of food and food habits in the United States. So let's get started. So to start with, we're going to have a look at eating out. So lots of people like to eat out in the United States, as they do in lots of countries. And there are lots of different types of establishments where we can eat. So first of all, we have a diner. Now, a diner is a casual restaurant, a very casual restaurant where you usually get a quite quick service. And there are diners even outside of America now. Diners have come to be known as the sort of typical American dining experience. So you can see in this picture, they often have these red seats and they serve food all day. Lots of different types of food, but usually some more quick food. So it's not fine dining, it's casual dining. So Christelle, you had your first burger in America. Was it in a diner or in a restaurant? What kind of place did you eat in? We also have a drive-through. So maybe you are familiar with this concept. It is where you pick up your food in your car and you eat your food in your car. Often a fast food shop or restaurant might have this. Have any of you ever used a drive-through? The New York hot dog, very nice. We also have a buffet. So a buffet is where you have lots of food laid out and you can go and take what you want. So it doesn't have what we call table service. Table service is when there are waiters, so servers, who come and give you your food. But in a buffet, you go and get your food yourself. And there are lots of different dishes. We also have a food truck. These are quite popular. So it's a vehicle. A truck is a type of car. A dish is a plate of food, a particular type of food. In French, it would be a plat. So we have a food truck. This is a vehicle, but people will be serving food out of it. So it's a big car. That's what a truck is. And there is a kitchen inside, and you can just pick up your food to take away. Take away is when you're not going to eat the food inside a restaurant, you're going to take it away. And then we have some other general terms. So we can say a something house. In America, for instance, you might have a steak house or a waffle house or a pancake house. This is a restaurant, and then before it, you put the specific type of food. We also have a stand. So this will not be a building. It's just a stand, so a little setup where people will be serving food. For example, a hot dog stand. So maybe, Damien, did you get your hot dog at a hot dog stand or in a restaurant? But there are lots of, e.g. is example. So for example, a hot dog stand. Exactly, Robin. So it's usually outside. You can have a stand maybe inside a large building, but it's not a restaurant. Okay, so it would be outside. Sometimes they have a little umbrella. You might have seen a picture. We also have a joint. Joint is a very casual word. It's just used, you could say, I'm going to this new burger joint. That means a restaurant. It's just a place that serves food. So it could be a stand, it could be a restaurant, it could be a drive-through. It doesn't describe the type of restaurant, it just means a place to get food. And we also have a shack. Specifically, we might say a rib shack, which is a place that serves ribs. If you're not familiar with ribs, it's a type of barbecue. It's meat from the body, from the upper body of an animal. Then we also have fast food. So fast food is very much loved in the United States. You perhaps have eaten at some of these fast food places because they have them in France as well and in lots of different countries. But fast food is particularly popular in the United States. So here we have some vocabulary to do with fast food. So first of all, we have a chain. Now, a chain can be used to talk about more than just fast food restaurants, but it just means a type of restaurant where there are lots of different locations of that same restaurant. So, for example, McDonald's is a chain because there are lots of different McDonald's locations. And another word we can use to talk about an individual location of a chain is a branch. So, for instance, you might talk about the New York branch of Subway. This would be the Subway in New York. Of course, there are more than one Subways in New York, but that was just an example. We also have an outlet. This means the same thing as a branch. It means a particular location of a restaurant. We also have what we call a franchise. Now, a franchise is when individual people can buy the rights to a particular franchise, and they can set up their own branch. So it's just a technicality when it comes to whether the branches of a chain are individually owned, in which case it's a franchise, or if they're all owned by the same person. Then once we're ordering in a fast food restaurant, we have a combo. Now, maybe you have eaten a combo before. This is when you get lots of different items together and you buy them together as a set. Combo is short for combination, so it's when you've combined lots of menu items together. And a menu, or a meal, sorry. Some people call it a menu, some people call it a meal. This will be, instead of just maybe ordering chicken nuggets, you will order chicken nuggets and fries and a drink. So this makes it a full meal, and you pay for it all in one go, instead of paying for each thing separately. We also have the word refill. Now, this is something that is really common in the United States, but is not so common in other places around the world. A refill is when you can keep getting more of something. And sometimes restaurants even do unlimited refills. And this means that you can keep getting more and more until you can't eat anymore. It's unlimited. There is no limit. And finally, we have a soda fountain. So a soda fountain, maybe you've used these in McDonald's or somewhere, where Americans call fizzy drinks soda, sweet fizzy drinks. So it's where you go and get your sweet fizzy drink. So let's just have a quick look at what we've learned. What would we call this? What is this a picture of? Brilliant, Damien, and you've all got it. Amazing. It is indeed a food truck. So Robin, for when you eat all of the portion you want for the same price, yeah. So we can say that you can also call that all you can eat. There's just a term you can use. All you can eat, maybe buffet. But a refill is when you can just keep putting more, maybe more of a drink into your cup. That's what we would call a refill. But it is about having as much as you want for the same price. You don't pay more each time you take more. So now we're going to have a look at some particular dishes that are popular in the United States. We're going to start with breakfast. So breakfast is the biggest meal of the day. People say that's when you should eat a huge meal. And maybe you have seen in American movies or TV shows that Americans like to eat a very hearty breakfast. This word hearty means something that fills you up, something that is a big portion. So some particular breakfast foods that are enjoyed in the United States, we have bacon. Bacon, this is cured pork. So it's pork meat that has been thinly sliced. We also have eggs. These come from a chicken. We can see them. They are white and yellow. And here in this picture, we have what we call fried eggs. We also have hash browns. Hash browns are bits of potato that have been put together with some other ingredients and fried. We also have pancakes. These are batter that has been fried in a pan. This is where we get the name pancakes from, and they are a sweet part of breakfast. We also have waffles. Waffles are also batter. They have been cooked and they have a very particular shape. Usually they have squares in them because of the machine you use to make a waffle. We have French toast. So French toast is when you take bread and you dip it. So you dip, if you don't know that word, this means to put something into something and then take it out, put something into a liquid and take it out. It's dipped in egg and then fried. You can see the theme is a lot of fried food. So not very healthy, but very delicious. Then we have syrup. This goes usually on top of pancakes or waffles or French toast, but some people put it on bacon. And this is a very, very sweet liquid. And it's a bit thick as well. So it's a thick, sweet liquid. And you can have different types of syrup. You can have maple syrup. You can have golden syrup. And yes, it's very nice. And we also have juice. So juice is a drink made from a fruit or a vegetable. So very common is orange juice, or as some Americans call it, OJ, which just stands for orange juice if you ever hear that term. What are waffles? So waffles are like pancakes, but they are made in a special machine, which means that they come out with squares on them. So they are basically like a grilled, exactly, they are gaufres. They are kind of like a grilled pancake. I found the same thing, Robin. When I was making this presentation, I was getting very, very hungry. So I'm sorry for the pictures making you hungry. So now we'll move on to soul food. Have any of you tried any soul food? So this is a particular cuisine which comes from the south of the United States, and traditionally it was made by African Americans in the United States. It again looks very delicious and makes me very hungry. So first we have fried chicken. So fried chicken is chicken, a type of meat, the meat from a bird, and it is covered in batter. I'll write this word down since I've said it a lot. Batter, which is a flour mixed with liquid, and then it is fried. It is cooked in oil and it becomes very crispy. It's crunchy and crispy. We have biscuits. Now in the UK, we call these more like scones, but Americans call them biscuits. And they are little bits of bread, but they can be eaten with savory food. We also have cornbread, and cornbread is a type of, it's almost like a cake, but a savory. This means it's salty. Cake made from cornmeal. We have beans. You can see them in the picture. They are usually mixed together in a sauce made into a stew. We have grits. Now, these are very American. This is a bit like porridge, grits, and it is a soft mixture that is cooked usually with butter, and it's eaten with lots of different things, but it is a soft and smooth mixture made from cornmeal. Again, we have macaroni cheese. Maybe you have tried this, but this is pasta mixed with cheese and milk, and it's very, very nice. And finally, we have collard greens. Now, these are a green vegetable, just like broccoli or spinach, and it's usually cooked. They're usually cooked with some type of meat, so with ham maybe, and it makes a nice vegetable dish. And then we'll look at some famous dishes. So, of course, the United States has lots of states and lots of cities. So here are a couple of famous dishes. So we have a Philly cheesesteak. Have any of you ever heard of a Philly cheesesteak? This is a sandwich, and it is filled with beef, with meat, and cheese. And it originated in Philadelphia. So Philly is short for Philadelphia. We also have a Chicago deep dish pizza. So in this case, dish has a slightly different meaning to what we discussed before. Dish is the container that the pizza is cooked in, and by deep, this means it is very thick. So usually we think of pizza as having quite a thin crust, and crust is the bread that makes up a pizza, but a deep dish pizza is very thick. And this originated from Chicago. We have a New England clam chowder. A chowder is a type of soup, and a clam is a small seafood. It's shellfish. It comes in a shell. And it's mixed with some vegetables and made into a creamy soup. We also have crab cakes. Now, a crab is another seafood. It has claws, and because there are lots of crabs in Maryland, they make crab cakes where they mix crab meat with breadcrumbs and some spices. We also have buffalo wings. Now, wings are the part of the chicken which allow them to, well, chickens can't really fly, but what they would use to fly if they flew properly. And they come from Buffalo in New York, and they are fried wings in a spicy sauce. We have key lime pie. This is a pie, so a dessert made with key limes, which are a citrus fruit, and it has a creamy filling. Finally, we have a New York cheesecake, which I'm sure you're familiar with. It is a baked, creamy dessert, and it has biscuit on the bottom. And finally, we have a gumbo, and a gumbo is a stew that comes from New Orleans, and it has lots of meat mixed with vegetables, and it's very tasty. So, can anyone remember what do we call this? Has this convinced you to go to America, Robin? It did make me really want to go to America. Brilliant, Ocean. So French toast. We don't need an S, it's just a French toast. Brilliant. And what would we call this? Can anyone think of what this would be based on what we saw? What's this one? Robin, you're on the right lines. Can anyone remember what this one's called? Philly, yes. You're all very close. So it is the Philly cheesesteak. Brilliant, Virginie. So now we're going to have a look at eating at home. So of course, in order to eat at home, people need to buy their food. True, Christelle. I did think when I looked, can people tell? Because it doesn't have a lot of cheese. But we're going to have a look at food shopping in America. Now, so one place where people shop is a farmer's market. Now, you have markets in France and lots of different countries, but a farmer's market specifically is a place where you would expect to find lots of fresh food from independent sellers. So there will be little stools. I'll write this word stool. It's like a stand where people are selling food. We have a supermarket. Now, a supermarket is a large shop where you can buy lots of different things. You can buy food, you can buy drinks, you can buy everything you would want. We have a shopping cart. We have one in the picture. This is an item, it's on wheels, and you push your food around. So you don't have to hold your food in your hands. You can push it in a shopping cart. You can also push your children in a shopping cart. We also have a basket. Now, a basket is another object you use to hold your food, but instead of pushing it along the ground, you hold it in your hands. We have the word groceries. Groceries just means the food that you buy to cook with. These are groceries. We have produce. I used this word earlier. Produce is any fresh ingredients, particularly things like vegetables and fruits. And we have the freezer section. So frozen food, food that is kept very, very cold to preserve it, is very popular in the United States. And the freezer section is the area of the supermarket or shop where you buy frozen food. We will have a look at some cooking methods. So we have grilling. This is using a barbecue. in America. You can see in the picture, it's where you have an open flame and you cook your food. We have broiling. This is when you put something in the oven and the heat is coming from on top of the food. It's coming from above the food. We also have 2 types of frying. As I mentioned, frying is when you cook food with oil. We have shallow frying, when you use a little bit of oil, and deep frying, when you use a lot of oil. We have smoking. This is when you take smoke, maybe from wood. You burn some wood, and you use the smoke to infuse flavor into your dish. So maybe like smoked salmon is very popular. We have a microwave. And a microwave is usually used to reheat food to make it hot again, but you can cook in a microwave. And finally, we have roasting. This is when you put something in the oven and let it cook. So on a grill, the heat is underneath the food, like in the picture. And in broiling, the heat is on top. In the UK, we call broiling grilling, but in the United States, when the heat is on top of the food, it's called broiling. Okay, was that clear? Do you understand the difference? So grill would be like plancha, and then broiling, I don't know what that would be. Broiling is when you have the heat on top. The heat, so you have the food here and the heat here. I think that's what, I think plancha is grilling. So what do we call the item with wheels that you use to push your groceries around a shop? Does anyone remember? Brilliant, thank you. A shopping cart. And what is it called when you cook something by putting it in a lot of oil? Deep frying, brilliant. Do you ever deep fry at home? Deep frying is quite a lot of effort. It's quite a lot of work to deep fry food at home. So now we have some terms. In English, of course, lots of foods are called the same thing, but there are some foods which are called different things in American English compared to British English. So I thought we would have a look at them now. Perhaps you recognize them. Does anyone know what cilantro is? Cilantro is a particular herb. It's a herb, so it's a green herb, and it's used in lots of dishes. It's a herb that a lot of people do not like. Lots of people do not like cilantro. Exactly, it's coriander, Virginie. Has anyone heard of arugula before? Arugula. This is you love arugula or you love coriander. Arugula is another green vegetable. We call it rocket in English. In British English, sorry. Arugula is also English in American English. Exactly, roquette. You would put it in a salad and it has a bit of a spicy taste. So some people also don't like arugula. We have eggplant. Has anyone heard this word before? In American English, they call it an eggplant. It's another vegetable. It's a purple vegetable. It's one of the only purple vegetables, actually. Exactly, aubergine, brilliant. We also have a garbanzo bean. I don't know if any of you have heard this term before. A garbanzo bean is a very small legume, we would call it in English, and it has a lot of protein. It is a chickpea in British English or a pois de chiche in French. We also have a scallion. Now, a scallion is a type of onion. It's a long green onion. So some people also call them green onions, but it's a long onion with a long green stem. We have a popsicle. Now, a popsicle is a dessert. It's something sweet made from frozen juice. So it's very, very cold. It's usually eaten in summer. We have jelly. Jelly is a spread. It's made from fruit, and you put it on bread. You could put it on a croissant. It's a spread made from a sweet spread made from fruit. And finally, we have cotton candy. This is a sugary treat made by spinning sugar. So spinning something is turning it around very quickly, and it's usually eaten maybe at a fun fair or something, and it's a very sweet treat. Finally, we have a few words of vocabulary on food inequality. So although the United States is one of the richest countries in the world, lots of people don't have access to good, healthy food. So there is lots of what we would call inequality. And inequality is when different people have very different experiences. They have different access to lots of food. Some people have lots of food and some people don't have any. So when we're talking about access to food, we're particularly talking about access to nutritious food as well. This is important for making sure people are healthy, and nutritious means it has lots of good nutrients in it. So vitamins and fiber, carbohydrates, all of the things we need to have energy and to be healthy. If someone is malnourished, this means they do not have enough nutrients. They have not eaten enough. They do not have the right energy. Their body cannot function properly. We have the term a food desert. This is very particularly used in terms of the United States to talk about particular areas of the United States where there is no good access to nutritious and affordable food. So affordable means when it's not very expensive. So a food desert. Desert is, of course, a place where there's no rain. And so a food desert is a place where there's no food, basically. We have the term food insecurity. This means when people do not have consistent, regular access to nutritious food. Some people, since maybe they don't have enough money to buy food, there are something called food stamps. Now, these are a way to get help from the government to buy food. A food stamp is a token which you can exchange for food. And finally, we can talk about a lack of. So a food desert is a lack of affordable and nutritious food in the area. Lack of means there is something missing. So finally, what do Americans call these? Can anyone tell from this picture? No, so this is not jelly. Brilliant, Audrey. Thank you very much. These are popsicles. It's luckily a bit too cold outside for popsicles here. So this is making me less hungry. And what do Americans call this? You might have seen this machine before. Brilliant, Océane. So it is cotton candy. I much prefer the French word for what they call cotton candy. I think it's funny. So that brings us to the end of our webinar. Exactly, Robin. I think it's funny to think of it as a beard. It is quite like a beard when you look at it. So that is the end of our webinar. I hope you all have learned something new today and you're not leaving this webinar too hungry. Maybe I should have prepared you, told you to get a snack before you watched, since we would be looking at a lot of food. but I hope you learned lots of new words of vocabulary so that you are more confident speaking about food in relation to the United States. Thank you very much. You too. You can all go off and eat your dinner now. Thank you all so much for coming and for answering the questions and participating. Si ce webinaire vous a plu et que vous souhaitez approfondir votre pratique de l'anglais, n'hésitez pas à faire une demande d'information sur notre site d'Internet. Nous serons heureux de vous présenter nos formations en détail et même de vous proposer un test de niveau gratuit à l'oral avec un de nos professeurs. So do come and see us if you want to learn more about the United States or about food or any area of English. Do come and see us. Do any of you have any final questions? Just let me know if you have any questions, but you're very welcome and thank you all so much for coming. If no one has any questions, then I will say bye-bye and hopefully see you soon and everyone enjoy your dinner. Bye-bye.